In this lesson, we will learn how to manipulate data in R. As an example, we will use the Forbes 2000 data frame from the HSAUR3 package. And in the first step, we are going to extract all the names of the companies and store them into a new vector called companies. This bracket subset operator here takes a subset for the rows. This is empty, meaning all rows, and a subset for the columns. And in our case here, we ask the subset operator to extract only one variable, and that's the variable called name. So class companies is now character, and the length is 2000, just as a check. So the first element from this character vector can be extracted by using the subset brackets and specifying number 1. The second one is number 2, and the third one is, of course, the subset using number 3 here. We can also do this in one step by using the colon to set up an integer vector of length 3 containing the numbers 1, 2, 3, and then we can extract the first 3 companies from this vector. Sometimes it is useful to extract all but a specific set of elements, and this is done by this operation here. So we have the subset, we have a huge integer vector containing the numbers 4 to 2000, and then using the negative values, we tell the subset operator to return all numbers, all elements, but the ones between 4 and 2000. And this is, of course, equivalent to the command above. In a more complex example, here we want to extract the first 3 rows and 4 columns from the Forbes 2000 data frame. So this command uses the bracket subsets to specify that we want to have a data frame that corresponds of the first 3 rows and the columns corresponding to the variables name, sales, profits, and assets. This is again a data frame, just a smaller one compared to the original one. An alternative way to extract one single variable from a data frame is using the dollar. So the name of the data frame, dollar name of the variable, gives us a character vector that can be stored again in a vector of a new name. And this is very much the same. It's exactly the same as we did before using this command here. Now we can also order the data, for example, using this construct here. We have the order function, and we assign the order to a new integer vector. So order sales is an integer vector that contains the element, the smallest element with respect to sales. So that means company number 1961 had the smallest sales. The second smallest sales had company number 1871, and so forth. And the 10 largest companies with respect to sales are the companies number 17, 13, 2, and so on and so forth. And the largest company is company number 10. So the names of the 3 companies with the smallest sales can be extracted by subsetting the companies vector by a subset of the ordered sales vector, and here the numbers 1, 2, 3. The smallest one, second smallest, third smallest. Now, we can of course use the same idea to set up a small data frame containing the 3 largest companies with respect to sales, number 2000, 1999, and so on, in the ordered sales vector, and then we have the names, the sales profits and assets, and we see it's Walmart, BP and ExxonMobil. Not entirely unexpected. Another way of subsetting data frames is using logical subsets. So here in this command, we extract the assets vectors. We construct a logical being true if the company has assets of more than $1,000 billion. And then the result is a factor being either true or false. So we see we only have 3 companies that have assets exceeding $1,000 billion, and we want to see which companies belong to this class, and this is Citigroup, Fannie Mae and Mizuho Financial. Interestingly, for the last company, the assets are very large, but the profit was negative, actually, a loss. As we already know, there are some companies where we do not have any information about the profits. And we can find out about these variables or these companies by using the is.na function. So is.na checks whether or not there is a valid value in the corresponding profits vector. And the resulting variable is a logical being true and false. So we can have a look at the table. 5, this is true, actually is missing, and for the remaining ones there's valid information. And we can also find out which companies do not have information, valid information about the profits by using which, or by directly using NA profits as a subset for the rows. And for example, US Airways did not reveal the profits in the corresponding year to the Forbes magazine. Now, in a similar spirit, we can use the complete cases function to check if any row contains at least in this data frame contains at least 1 missing value. So complete cases is true for all rows where all the variables contain a valid value, and this is exactly the same information as we obtained over here. So 5 observations contain at least 1 missing value in the corresponding row. Now we used the subset operator to construct subsets. It's sometimes a little bit more convenient to use actually the subset function. The subset function as first argument takes the data frame to be subsetted, and in a second argument a logical expression. In our case, the expression checking whether or not the country is equal to United Kingdom. And the result is a data frame, contains 137 observations, all 8 variables, so we didn't subset the variables. And when we use the summary function to check if we did everything right, we see that country now is still a factor. The levels are still the same, but there are only observations in or companies that are located in the United Kingdom.